This valve controls the pressure. The control wheel is missing. It's impossible to break this chain with my bare hands. A duct. It's no use. The padlock won't give. It's no use. The padlock won't give. Where do they keep their sleeping pills? Scopolamine, morphine, opium. Nothing but common drugs. My new friend's sleeping pills. With these chains on your wrist, you can't escape. door is blocked on the other side.
I'll go take a look.
It's no use. The padlock won't give.
Think we got a walker! You there!
Where do they keep their sleeping pills? Scopolamine, morphine, my new friend's sleeping pills. This valve controls the pressure. A duct. It's impossible to break this chain with my bare hands. Theoretically, I've only got one lever to push. This lever must turn on the gas machine. There's nothing happening. The control wheel is missing. I've got what you want.
Show me!
Sorry, I don't have what you want.
It ain't polite to give me false hope. Really ain't polite.
I've got what you want.
Show me!
There. And remember, they don't come for free.
Don't you worry, you'll have your diversion. Go on now, go hide yourself. The crows! They're everywhere! Make them go away!
If I walk, I do not stop. If I do not stop, he does not catch me. If he does not catch me, I do not sleep. If I do not sleep, I do not see him. I do not hear him. He does not call me.
Get
He
me
does
out!
not call. Don't let me sleep in here. He calls me.
Help me!
If I walk, I do not stop.
What carnage. All the levers are activated. That should draw the attention of the guards. I should hide.
Damn it! Is there somebody?
Doctor, is that you?
Don't you worry about the doctor. Right now, he'll have plenty to keep him busy with his precious machine. It gives us time to get away. I'll undo you.
Get away? Get away where? I can't go anywhere. It'll find me, like it found me here. You're mistaken about the beast. Don't stay with me, or you'll end up the same way.
You're Sanders, aren't you? I heard you from my cell. What did they do to you? What does Fuller want with you?
The doctor? You think it's the doctor who scares me? The doctor wants to heal me. But he's the one who's crazy. He wants to restore my sight. He wants to give me back my eyes. And yet I told him that I didn't want them. I do not want to see it anymore. The real culprit is Sarah. Her and her accursed paintings.
You're kidding me. You're talking about Sarah Hawkins.
The one and only. The legendary. There is no artist more enlightened or cursed than Sarah Hawkins.
In her office, I saw signs of a ritual, perhaps an invocation. These things, that's what makes you say she's cursed.
You're wrong. It was not an invocation, but a revocation. But she failed. And that's what counts.
What's going on this island?
I'm so sorry. We should never have met.
What are you talking about?
Destiny! It has trapped you. No, don't let it see you, or you won't be able to escape it. Don't look at it. That's how it finds you.
What finds me?
Sarah Hawkins' visitor. The Chandler.
Sanders, pull yourself together.
Without her, it's no longer possible to save me. No!
Sanders! What the hell? I gotta... Okay. This is insane. What killed him? Damn! The gas! Oh, my head.
Later. We need to move on.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
You two know each other pretty well.
It's a tiny island. Everyone knows everyone. Especially since I'm a police officer and Marie's a doctor.
The chemistry is obvious.
I do seem a little bit stupid, don't I? Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you. But I had nothing to do with the death of your husband. I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins family.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows only tragedy after tragedy. You too would be advised to flee it like the plague. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
How did you come to meet Sarah Hawkins?
We were the wealthiest and most influential families on Darkwater. Of course we would know each other. And when Charles returned from Europe with his sweet little artist, she and her sinister paintings were destined to catch my husband's eye. He bought many of her works over the last 5 years. They adorn his macabre gallery.
May I ask you what Miss Baker is doing here? How do you know her?
My business with Miss Baker is private, Mr. Pierce.
But you do know what kind of business Miss Baker is in, don't you?
I am no fool. Please believe that much, at least.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you are so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. Did she really care for him after all? day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives. Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. A house of artists. Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel? She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why? The Shambler. I need to see it. Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it? Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings, that accursed Sarah.
I could use one of those. A strange Amerindian pendant. Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
I found this drawing of a dagger. Did you come across anything like it in your reading?
Perhaps. I saw several daggers in the ledgers. I could always check. What I didn't find, however, was the slightest reason why I should help you, Detective.
I don't need your services. I can manage all on my own, thanks.
Do it then. Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery. The public entrance to the gallery. Why was he so interested in old weapons? What the hell was that? I can't even touch it. No way out. No choice. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? I can't even touch it. Oh, God. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger. Damn it! This dagger didn't work. Damn it! I have to use a specific dagger. What the hell was that? Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger. Damn it! This dagger didn't work. What the hell was that? Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger. Damn it! This dagger didn't work. What the hell was that? This dagger looks different.
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.
Where's the bookseller? Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary. What happened here? Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seemed like amateur work. To whom does this footprint belong? This burglar seems to be rather clumsy. What killed all these animals? What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the... Charles Hawkins? What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe. A strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it. Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills? What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet? Arkham editions? Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions? Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions? Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions? Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions? Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions? Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions? Never heard of him. Things are not looking good. A kind of chalice. The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion. Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them. What does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham Editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
What can you tell me about him?
He was highly agitated an hour ago. We were about to tie him down when he fell asleep. 10 minutes ago, he curled up into a fetal position. I thought he was waking up, but no.
I don't recognize him. Did he just arrive on the island?
He said he worked on the docks, but not with Captain Fitzroy. I think he works for Ms. Baker.
Who?
You know, the woman at the head of their gang. They call her Cat.
Oh, I see.
Do you have other questions?
What are his symptoms?
His temperature has been going down, his skin losing its color, his body rigid. I closed his eyes myself. They were glassing over. I didn't want them to dry out, and I couldn't bear to look at the expression on his face.
You did well. Don't worry. Let's stay professional, if you will. Show me his file.
That's not possible.
Don't tell me Dr. Fuller has taken this file as well. We need it.
That's why I called you. This man's ailment has been hidden from us.
Come on now. What was he treated for?
An intoxication, I was told. After inhaling chemicals.
That'll do for the time being.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Very well. I'll examine him. "30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin, tender at the touch, slightly sticky. Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body.
So, doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail. And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier...
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients, provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
These are alarming symptoms. If we don't act, he'll die.
Do you believe that? I'm not as convinced, you see. I even think this man has a strong chance of completely healing from his ailments.
No, Doctor. This patient isn't himself anymore. He's dying.
Really? What do you mean by isn't himself?
He's changing. His physical characteristics, they are more animal than human now.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Oh, that evidence exists. I'm sure of it. I need to find the missing medical files.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep mum.
Chronic insomnia. Like half the island.
Doctor, please. My chest. Oh.
His perfusion of a semi-physiological solution doesn't seem to work. He's undergoing a ventricular fibrillation. Nurse? Deborah, come and help me, please. His potassium level is too high. Replace it with 2% glucose solution with insulin, calcium, and sodium bicarbonate.
I'll tend to it right away.
Thank you. He's in your hands. Hay fever? What's he doing here? Mrs. Sanders? He broke his back in an accident down by the docks.
Ah, the whaling station. What's wrong with me?
What are you talking about?
Doctor, that you?
Yes, it's Dr. Colden. Tell me what happened.
It's the old whaling station. See?
What did you see there?
Nothing. Nothing at all. The floor was all rotten and I fell straight through.
And that's how you broke your back?
Perhaps. No idea. Passed out.
I'll just sleep a bit more.
She recently came back from the surgical block. She's stable. Given her file, a nephrectomy would have been inevitable. But Fuller was able to save her kidney. What is the boiler room key doing here? The key to the boiler room. Not where I expected to find it. The key to the boiler room. Not where I expected to find it. Intoxication from breathing organic vapors.
Dr. Colden, here you are at last. This patient was again brought up to the psychiatric wing. We've been following the treatment you prescribed, but the dysgeusia persists and he's lost a great deal of weight. We haven't been able to move him. The stress makes him hyperallergic.
Sir, I am going to examine you. Do you understand? Inject him with a dose of pentobarbital, intramuscular, so that I can conduct the clinical examination. He bit his lips so much, they're still bleeding. White froth, evidently because of such drooling. His binds left bloody wounds.
So, Doctor, what should we do with this patient?
You did good work. The tranquilizer is kicked in. Now you can disinfect and bandage his wounds.
Thank you, Doctor. And as to his weight loss?
I'll prescribe an antifungal treatment for his dysgeusia. In the meantime, feed him intravenously.
It'll be done.
Another insomniac. I should find the cause for such a widespread trouble. Gentlemen, may I help you?
We're waiting on news regarding our mother, Maureen Harding. She came in with a kidney problem, but we haven't heard anything since.
I've tended to her, and I have good news. Her blood analysis is reassuring. Her kidneys are as new.
Are you talking about the same person? This is miraculous.
She's still recovering, but you may speak to her upon her awakening.
Oh, thank you so much, Doctor. We'll wait for her to wake up. We've been here since this morning, so it won't make a difference.
Watch out for the water, Doctor.
No, you're pulling my leg. I'm not joking. I saw the schedule. She's alone in the bathroom again. And she still says nothing to that old witch, Donovan.
Oh, listen to the way you talk, you naughty girl. And the answer is no. You can imagine that she doesn't dare see it.